Hi there, my name is Matt Sircely, and I'd love to show you a little bit about your brand new Andy Mackie music stick. For those of you who don't know Andy Mackie, he's a dear friend of mine, dear friend of many people, and he's been helping kids learn music for more than 10 years. He's built thousands of these. Some of them he built himself, some of them are built by school shops or different folks. They might even have been built by you. So congratulations on having your new Andy Mackie music stick. Essentially what it is, this is a dulcimer. There's an instrument called the mountain dulcimer, which was very, very common in the United States. Maybe 100 years ago or so. You would have found them everywhere. And the way that you play it is you stick it on, usually on your lap, and play it on its back. Now this is a Andy Mackie music stick, so it's a dulcimer that you play like a guitar. So, what makes an instrument like this work? It's so small, yet it puts out so much sound. What we have is the strings have tension on them. So when you play the string, it creates a vibration. The string's moving around, all this metal is producing sound waves and vibration. What happens is the vibration goes through this little piece here, which is the bridge, into the top of the instrument. And the sound bounces around the inside and eventually comes out this little hole. That's why when we play this little string, it keeps ringing and ringing and ringing. So that's the beauty of a stringed instrument. When we make the string shorter, it makes the notes go higher. It makes the sound waves get shorter. Halfway up the instrument, let's see if you can find this halfway point. Right where all these frets are close together, the highest one, that is exactly halfway between the bridge and the nut. This is called an octave. We're dividing the string in half, it's making a higher note, and it happens to be the exact same note as if it was open, just one octave higher. Now, when we play stringed instruments, one of the most important things to know is the major scale. So I would just like to walk through the major scale very quickly so that you have a chance to play it. And we're just going to move up in a line from what we call open, where we're not putting any fingers down, all the way up to the halfway point, to the octave. So, first, using the smallest string, we have open. Then put your first finger down on the first fret. We'll call it 1. Put your first finger, you can use the same finger if you want. We call the next one 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to skip this one and go to this one. 7 and 8. That's the major scale. So let's try it. I'm going to play it all in a row right now. We have open, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then skip 1, 7, 8. that sounds familiar, it's probably because it is. So much of our music is based around the major scale. And that's what this instrument is designed to play. Now, the way that these are called frets, these little metal things, and the way that they're spaced out makes it so that the instrument sounds so good. It's really, really difficult to play a wrong note. Sometime when you're just sitting at home or when your teacher says it's okay, sit there and try to look around on the instrument. Everything sounds good. That's the beauty of this instrument. That's why Andy Mackie feels it's so important to get instruments like this dulcimer in the hands of children. And throughout this video, we'll be going over some more of the basics of how to play a stringed instrument. Those are things that you can remember forever. Those are things that are going to help you learn to play guitar, mandolin, any stringed instrument. So, it's very important to know how to tune the instrument. And what you need to know about a dulcimer is that there's 3 strings, but there's really only 2 notes. 2 of these strings are the same note, but a different octave. Those are the ones on the bottom. I call this the bottom because it's the lowest in pitch, and this is the top. Hear it? They're the same note. One of them is higher. It's an octave higher. They're the same note. Now, the one in the middle is different, but they all go together. Make a good sound. That's what helps make this a can't play a wrong note machine. And it's important to note that because these strings are the same on the top and the bottom, we can also play both of them at the same time. Just remember that. If you learn a melody on this string, you can also play it on this string. And it's exactly the same notes. So, what notes are they? Well, this is tuned in the key of G. Sometimes dulcimers are tuned in D or other keys. This is in the key of G. And the note that goes best with G is D. So the notes that we have here are G, D, and then G again, an octave higher. So you can tune by listening to it. Eventually, you'll get good at just hearing if it sounds right. It sounds good to me. Another way to tune is to go to the 4th fret on the low string. Open, 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the 4th fret, it should sound exactly the same as the next open string. Watch. Hear it? It's the same note. If we go to the middle string, the D string, we go to the 3rd fret. And that should sound exactly the same as the open string above it. Watch. Can you hear it? They're the same. Now when tuning, there's a couple really important things to remember. Number 1, don't tune them too tightly because they will break if they get tuned too tightly. The other thing to remember is keep your eyes away from the strings when you're tightening them. You don't want a string to break and fly up into your eye. It never happens, but that's because people are careful. So definitely be careful, because strings do break. So, now if one of these was wrong, that sounds kind of off, doesn't it? The way that the tuners like to work is they like to approach the pitch from below. These are little gears in here. Maybe you put them in yourself. But these gears, they like to wind up. You can see the little gear here. They like to wind up. So it's best to tune from below. Does that sound like it's good enough? Let's check. I'm going to go to the 3rd fret. Still too low, isn't it? Let's go a little higher. Does that sound perfect? I think so. So now you know how to tune the dulcimer, the Andy Mackie music stick. So let's get busy with learning a tune now.